Gaslighting. Gaslighting happens when someone deliberately makes another person doubt their sense of reality, their memories, or even their mental state. The term comes from a 1938 play, Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into thinking she's losing her sanity by dimming the gaslights in their home and then denying it when she notices. Gaslighters use lies, withhold information, and shift blame while denying the victim's side of the story, making them question their perception of events. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is when a manipulator causes the victim to feel guilty for their actions, inactions, or decisions in a specific situation. For instance, if a toxic person isn't invited to a party and learns about it, they may say something like, "I can't believe you didn't invite me. I thought we were closer than that," to make the victim feel bad and ensure they'll be invited next time. Isolation. Isolation is a tactic where manipulators distance their victim from friends or family, ensuring the victim lacks a support system that could intervene. This is done by eroding the victim's relationships with loved ones, making the victim think those people are harmful to them. The manipulator builds dependence, convincing the victim they need the manipulator's support and approval, making them feel they can't survive without it. This strategy is often used by abusers, cults, and online predators. Love bombing. Love bombing is a manipulative strategy where the abuser overwhelms the victim with excessive affection, attention, and praise. The goal is to make the victim believe they are deeply loved. The manipulator uses constant compliments, gifts, and big future plans to create an intense emotional connection. But in reality, the aim is to gain control quickly. The victim becomes dependent on the praise, and once that attachment is formed, the manipulator can suddenly withdraw affection, leaving the victim craving it and more easily controlled. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is a common manipulation tactic where the abuser acts as though they are the one being wronged or hurt, even when they are at fault. By doing so, they avoid responsibility and shift the blame to others, exaggerating their own problems to gain sympathy while evading accountability. This tactic is effective because it puts the burden on the other person to confront them directly, which can be uncomfortable. Threats or coercion. Manipulators often use threats, ranging from physical harm to emotional or financial threats. For example, a manipulator may threaten to leave a relationship over a minor issue or refuse financial support. Hackers use financial threats in ransom attacks, as seen in the Colonial Pipeline case, where a $4.4 million ransom was demanded in exchange for returning control of the company's systems. Legal threats or smear campaigns can also be used as leverage in manipulation. Silent treatment. The silent treatment involves refusing to communicate with someone as a form of punishment. It's often used in relationships but can also occur at work or among friends. This tactic, similar to ghosting, is used to maintain control over the victim by cutting off communication. Ghosting is a permanent version of this tactic, often seen as a passive way to end a relationship without closure, leaving the victim feeling confused and rejected. Shaming. Shaming can take many forms, from public humiliation to subtle put-downs. Manipulators often publicly criticize or mock the victim to make them feel inadequate. They may compare the victim unfavorably to others, exclude them from social events, or blame them for things they didn't do, all to make them feel inferior. Triangulation. Triangulation occurs when a manipulator introduces a third party to create jealousy or rivalry. This might involve the manipulator spending more time with the third party to make the victim feel left out. Sometimes, the manipulator spreads rumors to turn the third party against the victim, increasing conflict and making the victim more vulnerable to control. Aggressive jokes. Manipulators often use jokes as a tool to insult or demean their victims. These jokes may seem innocent, but they are designed to hurt, all while allowing the manipulator to maintain an air of innocence. If the victim reacts, they are accused of being overly sensitive or lacking a sense of humor. These jokes can isolate the victim in social settings, turning others into aggressors. Emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is when the manipulator uses threats, guilt, or other forms of emotional manipulation to control the victim. One common method is withholding affection, until the victim complies with the manipulator's demands. Manipulators may also make promises they later break, keeping the victim in a state of emotional instability. Projection. Projection is when the manipulator attributes their own thoughts, feelings, or actions onto the victim. By making the victim feel guilty for things the manipulator is actually guilty of, the manipulator shifts blame. This is also known as victim blaming. In contrast, deflection is when the manipulator is aware of their actions but shifts focus onto the victim to avoid responsibility. Smear campaigns. Smear campaigns involve spreading rumors and gossip about the victim to damage their reputation. Politicians and celebrities often claim the media is targeting them in smear campaigns. Michael Jackson and Donald Trump are two well-known figures who frequently accused the press of misrepresenting them. Shifting the goalposts. This tactic involves a manipulator changing the standards or criteria for success during an argument or negotiation. For example, a boss might promise a raise for completing a task, but, after the task is completed, demand additional tasks before honoring the agreement. It's about constantly moving the target so the victim can never meet expectations. Changing the subject. Manipulators often change the subject during conversations to avoid accountability. This tactic can cause the victim to feel confused or unsure of the conversation's direction, making it easier for the manipulator to gain control. Playing on insecurities. Manipulators exploit their victims' fears and insecurities to undermine their confidence. By making the victim feel unsure about themselves, they become easier to control. Cult leaders like L. Ron Hubbard used this tactic to prey on vulnerable individuals and recruit them into Scientology. Fake moralization. A manipulator may pretend to have high moral standards to gain power. This can take the form of virtue signaling, where they publicly support causes to gain praise. However, they often engage in hypocritical behavior and use their supposed morality to manipulate others. Infantilization. This involves treating the victim like a child, often through micromanagement or patronizing behavior. By belittling or controlling every aspect of the victim's life, the manipulator gains power. This demoralizes the victim, making it harder for them to stand up to their abuser. If you like our channel, please subscribe, like, and comment. Let us know which topic would you like to watch. See you in the next video.